Yo, what's up, everybody? Ghost here. Today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the Owen gun and TYPE-100. And I wanted to make this comparison because if you guys have not been made aware, there's supposed to be a big Warzone update coming soon, or at least a Warzone update. I don't know if it's going to be big, but it was speculated that it was actually going to drop today on the day of me dropping this video. And I actually waited for pretty much the whole night and a little bit of the morning before I began making this video just to see if an update would come out. But it has not dropped yet. So I'm leading to believe that the update's either going to drop tomorrow or, Thursday. But anyways, the update is important because in this update, people are speculating that the MP-40 is going to get nerfed, meaning that the SMG meta is going to get tossed around. Also, the brand is also said to be getting nerfed in this update. There hasn't been no official patch notes dropped yet. But a lot of people are just kind of assuming this is what's going to happen. We're going to have to just wait and see. But at the moment, I think we're going to have to wait until Wednesday or Thursday. But regardless, man, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because once that update does drop, we're going to be making comparisons like crazy over here, talking about the new changes and whatnot. And yeah, man, you guys want to be ready for that? Just hit that sub button. But 2K, we're on the road to 2K. But yeah, man, that being said, let's get into this comparison. And then we have the recoil pattern for the Owen gun, and I believe the Owen gun to be one of the most underrated SMGs in the game. And I don't see if or how this weapon might get changed in this upcoming update. I don't see why they would actually nerf or buff it. I think it's in a really good spot. It's right now in its current state. If the MP-40 was to get nerfed, this and the TYPE-100 will definitely be the next SMG meta. It'll be between one of the two, or it might be a 2 SMG meta where at that point it's just gonna be personal preference. But this Owen gun, bro, is really good. If you have not used it yet, level it up, man. Trust me, this gun is actually really amazing. I even consider it to be on par with the MP-40 at the moment, even without the nerf. So when this MP-40 finally gets nerfed, this gun is gonna finally be able to get the attention it deserves. And on top of that, this gun is literally bro, this is like a mini LMG. This gun has 72 bullets, or you could put 72 bullets onto it. I would definitely recommend putting 72 bullets, and it just does a lot of damage. When you guys hear the damage, you're gonna be surprised that this weapon isn't getting talked about as much. And I think actually, I think I've made a comparison on the Owen gun versus MP-40. If you guys can check that out, I'm not 100% on that. I think I did. I would be surprised if I did, but I'm pretty sure I did. So if you guys want to go check that out, man, go ahead. It's somewhere in between this last month. But yeah, man, this Owen gun is something that if you have not used, man, you're missing out. And I really could see this gun being the next meta, which we'll have to wait until the update. Because again, I don't really think this gun is gonna get touched. They have no reason to touch it. This weapon is literally doesn't get talked about at all. I barely see people using it, and so for it to actually get changed right now, I'd be very surprised, and I would be very disappointed if they actually change it. Because like I said, there is no reason to change it at the moment. They maybe once it becomes meta, obviously it'll probably get changed. But right now in its current state, nah, there's no reason for it to get changed. And then moving on over to the TYPE-100, that gun a little bit more popular than the Owen gun, I would say. I definitely had its, I guess, time to shine. Definitely had a little period in this first season, or this first month of the integration where it was given a little bit of attention. It was given a little bit of time where it was kind of meta. People were definitely using it. Whereas the Owen gun never really had a time period in this last month to be the #1 SMG or to be just even somewhat talked about. People just kind of didn't really use it. It was overshadowed by other guns, PBSH, Tommy gun, all these other guns, even though it was really good. But yeah, with that being said though, let's get into the TYPE-100 officially in the sense. And here we have the recoil pattern for the TYPE-100. As you guys can see, it's actually pretty, I was actually kind of surprised at how much recoil this base TYPE-100 has. But obviously when you have 10 attachments, this gun doesn't have too much recoil. And actually, one of its characteristics from what I've heard is that this gun has, I would say, low recoil. I mean, it's true. It definitely has low recoil. Somewhat viable at range. I would say not as viable as MP-40. The Owen gun, I think, is able to compete with the MP-40 at range. But the TYPE-100, especially since I don't use the sight, it's a little bit rougher. But, you can sometimes be able to engage in those longer ranges and have a little bit of success. But the MP-40, man, to me, like I said, like I always say, it's literally it's an AR in disguise. It's that good at range. It's way too powerful at range. It kills way too fast. And If anything, I think damage range on that gun is gonna get nerfed, but we'll have to wait and see. And for the first stat that I want to talk about, we have the fire rate. For the Owen gun, we have a 500 RPM, which is slightly slower than the MP-40, whereas the Type 100 has a 750 RPM, which is faster than the MP-40. Both of them, though, I wouldn't say are too far apart. Well, between the Type 100 and Owen gun, that's one of the glaring advantages that the Type 100 has. But when it comes to something like damage, that's where the Owen gun just completely outshines even down the MP-40. Because for the damage that we're going to get into right now, for the close range damage, 0 to 17 meters for the Owen gun, we have 62 damage to the head, 46 to the neck and chest, 42 to the stomach, and then 39 to the extremities. And then for the Type 100, for 0 to 14 meters, we have 44 damage to the head, 39 to the neck, 30 to the chest and stomach, and then 28 to the extremities. So when you guys hear that damage for the Owen gun, bro, like, you would be surprised as to why this gun isn't meta. Like, you guys hear that damage, and bro, it's just mind-boggling. Because if you guys do not know, that damage is actually, all those damage values are all more than the MP-40. Now, granted, the fire rate is a little bit less. So, you know, fire rate, that does kind of play into account, or it's a factor, when considering why the Owen gun isn't being talked about at all. But, as for me, like, I use a couple of fire rate attachments on my Owen gun. I think specifically the mag. So it's not too crazy. Well, then again, the MP-40, I do use fire rate mag attachments too. But the Owen gun brand, like, damage-wise, it has the capabilities of just being a top SMG. And the fact that it just never really got the opportunity is just mind-boggling. Because for the most part, damage-wise, it has more of an advantage than any other SMG that I know of. Even the MP-40, up until a certain range, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But speaking of the ranges, moving on over to like the medium range, I guess. For 17 to 22 meters for the Owen gun, we have 52 damage to the neck. 52 damage to the head, 39 to the neck and chest, 33 to the stomach, and then 30 to the extremities. And then for the Type 100, we have 35 damage to the head, 30 to the neck, 24 to the chest and stomach, and 22 to the extremity. Now again, the Owen gun still has a significant advantage in damage at this range. Even so, against the MP-40 and the Type 100. Damage-wise, statistically, like, it doesn't seem like the greatest, but keep in mind it has a 750 RPM, a pretty fast fire rate, and on top of that, I'm adding in a lot of fire rate attachments on this gun, so we could be well pushing 800 RPM, which is pretty good, and the damage isn't that bad. And I also use the hollow point attachment that gives me more limb damage, so, you know, you gotta keep in mind that I'm doing a little bit more damage than what is being outputted by these default statistics. Unfortunately, I don't really know how this all works, so I don't know, like, what the updated stats would be, and I apologize, but, you know, from the base stats, that's just what we got. But moving on over to the longer ranges, damages for the Owen gun, 22 meters and above. We have 34 damage to the head, 25 to the neck and chest, 24 to the stomach, and 22 to the extremities. And for the Type 100, we have 20 from 18 meters and above, 28 damage to the head, 25 to the neck, 19 to the chest and stomach, and 18 to the extremities. Again, kind of reinforcing the idea that the Type 100 doesn't really have the range aspect, even though it kind of has low recoil, whereas the Owen gun doesn't have the craziest damage at range. Matter of fact, it's actually weaker than the MP-40 at these longer ranges, but it definitely has the capabilities of being somewhat of a ranged SMG, I would say. Yeah, the MP-40, obviously, a gun that I would say is pretty good at range. The Owen gun can definitely essentially replace the MP-40 when it's gone, because it's almost, I would say, identical, except for the fact that mobility-wise, it's not the same, but pretty much everything else, you know, has high damage, has the ability to have, like, the range aspect, and, you know, it's just, I know it's going to be a good substitute for the MP-40 when the time comes, and I think the Type 100 is going to be also another one if you know, don't want to use the Owen gun or don't think the Owen gun is that good. I think the Type 100 is definitely going to be that second option. Don't get me wrong, there could also be a whole lot of new things happening, so I'm just speculating, just assuming that the MP-40 is the only thing that really gets touched, which we all know it's not. You never know, maybe the PPSH gets buffed, or the Tommy gun gets buffed, or the stem gets, you know, that's why we're here though. This is just speculation. This is just like a prediction, I guess. And when the official patch notes come out, you best be ready, bro, because we're gonna be diving into a lot of comparisons talking about whatever changes may have occurred. We're going to be exploring what weapons may be meta, and yeah. But this is more like a preparation for that, and if you haven't leveled up these weapons yet, I would recommend you to do so. But anyways, man, let me know what you guys think about both of these weapons, and do you guys think that these could potentially be the new meta after the MP-40 Nerf? But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.